Tucker up ahead. Caruso leaves it for LeBron.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper, episode 54 of our 24-minute recaps. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on all platforms at YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review if you'd like. Follow us on Spotify. And, of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Dime Dropper Pod. And TikTok, of course. We just got on there, just announced on Instagram and Twitter that we are on TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod for quicker videos and shorter clips. Still haven't posted those. Sports Me app as well. Download the Sports Me app where you can actually respond to my takes. So let's get into it. Not a good night for Los Angeles tonight. Both of our teams falling to solid opposition. The Clippers falling to the Celtics in Boston. The Suns beating the Lakers here in LA. I'm going to start with the Clips against the Celtics. And, you know, I was excited for this game. I heard that Jaylen Brown came back, so I figured, you know, we're going to have a fully healthy team for the Clips versus a fully healthy Celtics besides Marcus Smart. And I was disappointed to hear that Kawhi Leonard was not to be found before the game, and they diagnosed him with back spasms. So another game missed by one of our stars. I'm not going to call it load management. I genuinely believe he was, you know, feeling back spasms before the game. But how do we find out right before the game? Is there no shoot around? Is there no practice yesterday? Like, how are we finding this out right before the game? All these players missing games. I've talked about it so many times, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's like, what is going on here? We're never going to get rhythm with Kawhi and Paul George missing games all the time. It's never going to happen. Can they not play 20 consecutive games without injury? Can they not? Is that an impossible thing to ask now, to not play 20 games in a row? Because it just kills our rhythm. I fully believe we could have won this game if we had Kawhi tonight. But whatever. Let's get into it. I mean, we came out okay. Tristan Thompson was really getting going on the inside early. Jaylen Brown was getting going early, getting into his, you know, mid-range area, hitting his threes. But I thought we bounced back very well from that early Celtic run. Nick Batum was in some nice shots, one-legged off the glass, I'm pretty sure. Then he hit a three. Paul George really got going in that first half. He was unguardable, and he was hitting his jumper. He was getting to the rim. They really had no answer for Paul. I thought Lou was pretty decent as well. And I thought that when we went zone towards the end of the second quarter, it really let the Celtics take some bad shots. They missed some easy shots, especially Tatum in that first half. But we got them to take some bad shots, and it led to us having a 63-62 advantage after the first half. Paul George had 21 points in the first half, and I just thought that zone, you know, we've talked about this with the Celtics, guys. They're one of our dime dropper teams too. We've talked about it since the glorified summer league. They really struggle with zones because Tice does not really convince anybody from that mid-range area, and a lot of times Tatum will just resort to getting a screen and coming around it for a tough shot. And that's not how you break a zone. And as we said in multiple times in so many videos, and as we talked about in Is the NBA Getting Better and Better, teams have trouble beating 2-3 zones in today's NBA for I don't know what reason. But anyway, we go to the second half, and Reggie Jackson was just fantastic. I thought that because Paul George was getting double teamed, it was the Celtics were throwing two guys at Paul George on every screen, which was allowing the rest of the guys to get into 4-on-3 situations. And man, I got to give a shout out to Reggie Jackson. You know, he has been so incredible because of Ty Lue. You know, remember we talked about it in the beginning of the season, he got benched, and it set a precedent. You know, if you don't play well enough, you are going to sit on the bench. And Reggie Jackson bounced back, and he has been so much smarter since then. He sticks to doing what he does best, catching and shooting, and not trying to just go one-on-one thinking he's Allen Iverson, picking his spots a lot better. Tonight, Reggie was 10 of 14 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3, and he had 7 assists. Every single time Paul George saw two defenders, he passed it to Reggie or Bev or Serge and Batum. And for the most part, they all made the right play. Batum 3 assists, Serge 2 assists, Beverly 2 assists, Reggie 7, and BG 4. Lou with 4 as well, and Zoo with 3. So 28 assists as a team. The Celtics had 25, so we won that battle. I thought we moved the ball well. And Paul George's, attracting of 2 guys was great. But what happened was because of that, Paul George seemed to go a little cold. And in the fourth quarter, we had a 1-point lead going into it. It was the same story as always. I thought Marcus Morris Sr., by the way, prayers up to Sr. He was having a really good game again against his former team. 4 of 7 from the field and 2 of 4 from 3. He had 10 points, but he had a concussion. So I think it was late. I don't know if it was late in the third or somewhere in the second. I think it was in the first half. He only played 15 minutes, so I'd assume that was in the first half for my memory. So prayers up to Sr. I hope we get him back. That was tough to see. Zubats, when the Time Lord was in, once again, he really struggles with defending pick and rolls when there's a really good lob threat. I think that's what it is. If somebody can get in the air like a Gobich, like a DeAndre Jordan, like a Time Lord, Zubac struggles to drop and show on the ball handler and then recover in the air. By the time he's recovering, the ball's in the air, the lob's through the basket. The Time Lord, who I think has been the Celtics' best big per minute, is starting to get slightly more minutes. And it's huge for the Celtics. His energy, his intensity makes such a difference. Tonight, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Tristan Thompson was decent as well. I think the Time Lord was a bit better, though. Tristan finished with 13 points and 9 rebounds on 6 of 10 from the field. But Zubac was struggling there. I thought offensively he was decent, though. 8 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 4 of 6. Lou, he was playing pretty well. And then just periods of the fourth quarter, Lou and Paul George, it went to stagnant ball again. And, I see a lot of people taking a go at Ty Lue. I see people taking a go at the players. I'm mostly going to blame the players because here's the thing. We asked for a new coach, and Ty Lue's been great. So if you're seeing the same problems with a new coach, that should probably tell you it's on the players. Paul George just went cold, and, everybody can see it. I think it was one of the beat writers was tweeting that the last 5 shots we got or so, like 4 of them were Paul George threes, and he was 1 of 4. Like, this game was exactly what he did in that OKC Portland series. No Clipper fans want to admit it because they didn't actually watch the series in depth because they weren't caring about Paul George yet before he was on the Clippers. But that's exactly what he did. He played well, and in the second half, he fizzled out, just like the bubble, because he falls in love with threes. Oftentimes because, in my opinion, he goes up very weak when he goes to the basket. Like, he don't go up strong sometimes. But also, the refs need to start showing Paul George a little more respect. I think it's gotten a little ridiculous. They call such touch fouls on LeBron. They give Kawhi more respect, and Paul George can get to the basket more. Not even LeBron. I mean, you got other guys, Luka Doncic, James Harden. Like, give Paul George, come on. But anyway, I think Paul was, he made his own bed tonight. He took some bad shots. He went cold. And part of that was because the Celtics started switching and putting Tatum on him more. And that's what's going to happen. Teams are going to save their best defenders for the end of the games to guard the opposing best players. And it's our job to execute better than that. It's again the same problem. But to be honest, I'm not that angry. I know he got outscored by 6 in the fourth quarter. I thought that Jaylen Brown was pretty good, 18 points on 8 of 14. If you're a Celtics fan, though, a really bright spot is that Kemba Walker has had a couple good games in a row. This is the 3rd win in a row for the Celtics, 117, 112. I thought the end of the game was really hard to watch. They kept stopping it every 5 seconds. The Clips came closer, but ultimately there was a large stretch of that fourth quarter where we couldn't score, and the Celtics went up 10, and that's where we lost the game. And largely the execution was just poor. We struggle when teams switch everything and just keep shooting threes. We have a serious problem closing games. One of our subscribers, Rashid, said to me, tweeted, our stars haven't shown that they can close the games at a high level. And this is what it's all about. This is where the championships are won. I don't care if you have an efficient night and you don't give us the win at the end. I'd rather you shoot 8 of 20 and then win at the end of the game. Like, how many times did we see Kobe go 8 of 19 or 7 of 20, and then he would come at the end and he would finish the job? That's all that matters. I want the win. So we got to do a much better job closing games, or we have 0 shot at winning the championship, or even, getting out of the second round if we play the Lakers is going to be extremely tough. But at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard missing games is the biggest problem here. And nobody wants to admit it because they're like, oh, we just want to be healthy for the postseason. The postseason where we're going to be out of rhythm because we have not played as many games as the Utah Jazz or say the Phoenix Suns, who are starting to get a lot more continuity and chemistry, as we're going to segue into them in a second. And, we need to build, like we were on a run in the beginning of the season because our players were playing. And, that kills chemistry, man. Now the Clippers are down to the 4th seed in the Western Conference because our players cannot stay on the court. It's the simplest, biggest problem with our team. And it's like we got rid of Blake Griffin and Kawhi Leonard to bring Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, that are also have injury history. Like we just can't get away from these injury stars. But yeah, I see a comment about Luke Kennard. I feel bad for him too. I think he should be getting more minutes. Ty's been very harsh on him. And by the way, just to respond to one of the comments, Big Daddy, Paul George is an accomplished player in this league. He gets to the basket. He should get the same calls that Devin Booker gets. What has Luka Doncic done? You want to talk about superstar calls? What has Luka Doncic done? What has Giannis done more than Paul George? Paul George has taken a championship team to 7 games in the playoffs, and he's taken 2 Miami Heatles teams to conference finals, like tough series. He deserves that. He's a veteran in this league. But anyway, that's it for the Clips tonight. 24-13 is what we fall to. You got to give the Celtics credit for getting 3 wins in a row, 18-17. A special shout out to Peyton Pritchard. He was very solid tonight, hitting some deep bombs that honestly we're going to live with because he doesn't hit those that consistently. But we know he can shoot. 14 points on 5 of 8 on 4 of 7 from 3 from Peyton. So a great win for the Celtics. They sweep the Clips in the season series. Does that piss me off? Yes. But my Celtics friends, I think, are so down bad right now that they don't even talk shit to me about that because our record's better. And ultimately, the regular season doesn't really matter much in basketball. And it does, but at the same time, in terms of like the end game, it doesn't. It's all about chemistry and rhythm. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. The Phoenix Suns and the Lakers. Of course, we heard no Kuzma before the game, no Marc Gasol. This was, I'm pretty sure, the first game the Lakers played this season without Marc Gasol. And who started in place of him was Mon Trader against the skilled big man, which we thought could cause problems, DeAndre Ayton, and it did in the beginning of the game. The Suns were going to it. Ayton was getting what he wanted, jump hooks, turnarounds. He did miss some chippies after that, though, like the same type of shots. Devin Booker was getting to the basket. The Suns were getting what they wanted. They led by 8 after 29-21. Thought the Lakers were turning the ball over a bit much. But in the second quarter, I thought THT and Markieff Morris gave some nice sparks off the bench for the Lakers. Markieff, had this one nice turnaround over Chris Paul, took advantage of the mismatch. THT hit 2 threes in a row. The game was much closer at this stage of the game. KCP, extremely quiet again tonight. I thought the Laker role players in the first half were the reason why they were staying in the game because they were making their open threes. Caruso was 2 of 3 from 3 tonight. THT was 2 of 5 from 3 tonight, but I'm pretty sure some of those, I know at least one of those misses came in the first half. So he was doing well shooting the ball in the, I think one of those misses came in the second half, THT. So he was doing well shooting in the first half. And then someone who I thought brought a really nice impact to the Lakers in the first half, who I'm surprised they didn't go with much more later in the game, was a guy I don't like, but I'll give him his credit, Jared Bumley. He was making some really great rotations and help and recover on Dario Saric in the first half, changing his shots at the rim, being physical with him, causing turnovers. He maybe even gotten a strip. Jared Dudley, he had 0 points, but he was +9 on the court. I think it's because he got 3 fouls in like 11 minutes, but he was +9 on the court, which was the highest plus-minus of any Laker. He was actually decent in his minutes. So the Lakers go into the half, and they're down by 7 points. But the third quarter is when the game got a little fishy. LeBron was I thought he was really solid. I don't think he was that great shooting the ball from the outside. He was really getting what he wanted toward the basket and around the basket more. And then he started to hit a little bit more later in the game from deep. But I thought I thought the Suns at times still made it tough for LeBron. They still made him, make some reads that weren't great. For example, he only had 6 assists tonight. That's for a reason. It wasn't just all wide open shots missed by the Lakers. 11 of 31, 35% from 3 is about standard. I think that's about their average, if not maybe even a little more. So I thought that they did a good job. I think they let LeBron get to the rim sometimes, and then other times, they did allow. It was a mix. It was the Suns gave him a mix. Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges did decent jobs when they were on him. But I thought in the second half, the game really it seemed like there was going to be a big momentum shift when they threw Devin Booker out of the game. I mean, what was up with that? I mean, I'm not even going to go crazy anymore because I've just come to the conclusion that this NBA is just a complete clown convention with this officiating and the way the game is called. Another ejection for a hard pass out of frustration to a bad call or a call. JJ Redick a couple of games ago, and then we have now Devin Booker. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I thought they were going to ruin the game. And it really, we don't want to see Devin Booker out. He got 2 technicals on the same play. I couldn't read his lips. I saw that he said one thing. They gave him a T, and then he said something back to that ref. And there was a guy from behind, another ref, that threw him out of the game. It's just ridiculous, man. So many stoppages. Like, this shit is a joke. And it was just a poorly officiated game the whole way. The Lakers got some bad calls that went against them. The Suns. It's just garbage. Every single night, there's bad calls. Every single night, there's a bunch of players missing. Adam Silver, man. Don't like what he's done to this league. But anyway, I thought the game was going to change the second Booker got ejected. But you got to give the Suns a lot of credit. They are a well-coached team. They have hit stride as a unit, next man up attitude, and Chris Paul didn't even need to go off. It was the small ball lineup of the Phoenix Suns that really made the difference. A lot of Jay Crowder, a lot of Mikal Bridges, a lot of Chris Paul, a lot of Abdul Nader, a lot of Cam Johnson, and a lot of Dario Saric. And the Lakers, by the way, I have to make a shout out. Damian Jones came in the first half, and I thought he was everywhere. He was affecting shots of the basket. He got a block. He scored 4 points, 7 minutes, and he's 2 for 2, and he only plays 7 minutes. He was +1. And Wes Matthews plays 23. KCP plays 31. They both didn't really do anything. I thought Wes Matthews' defense was solid, but 0 of 2, 0 of 1 from 3 just doesn't really offer much offensively. It's safe to say he's just a little washed and just doesn't bring much to the table for the Lakers, in my opinion. I don't know, Laker fans, you can answer me how you feel about that. But KCP's been in such a slump. Over this last month or so. He was great in January, and then February came, and then just down the hatch. KCP has really struggled. He's not involved in games. I don't know how much that's on him, how much that's on the team, but he's having a tough time. 1 of 7 from the field. I thought Dennis Schroeder, he turned the ball over a bit too much for me tonight, and he shot a couple ill-advised threes and just missed a couple of shots that he usually hits. 6 of 17 from the field for Dennis, 2 of 5 from 3, but it's the small ball lineup that the Suns went to. It really spread the Lakers out. They had no rim protection underneath. It makes you question, if you're the Lakers, if you're Vogel, people were criticizing Vogel a lot on Twitter tonight. Do you think Damian Jones and Montrezl should have been put back in the game to give a little bit of that inside presence? Because he became very perimeter-oriented for the Lakers, and he became a lot of just LeBron, and LeBron was hitting. But there was other times where LeBron, one possession late in that game where he was dribbling the air out of the ball like usual, put up a 3 and missed. I thought LeBron overall, though, did his job. Laker fans, you can let me know what you think of that. I think he was great. 38 points on 16 of 24 from the field and 3 of 8 from 3. But as a common trend with LeBron's career, a lot of times when he goes out for big scoring nights, the team doesn't win. It's just something about the way teams game plan him. He's more effective doing that little bit of everything. And tonight he got what he got, but the Lakers, I just don't think that. Of course, without Kuzma and, of course, Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol, you've got to say the Lakers are shorthanded. But that small ball lineup really killed them. Dario Saric, who struggled in the first half, he was dominating in the second half with that small lineup, whether it was Morris under the basket on him or he got guys on switches. A lot of times, Wes Matthews, Caruso, he was dominating. He was dominating on the inside. You got to love that from Saric. He's cerebral. He has the ability to stretch it from the outside, but also on certain smaller guys, he can go down low. No Frank the Tank Kaminsky actually tonight, but I guess it was a coach's decision. But 21 points for Dario, plus 13, even though he got off to a slow start with Dudley locking him up. 5 boards, 3 assists. Ayton finished with 17 on 5 boards. Chris Paul only had 8 points, 10 assists though, which tells you how well-rounded this team is. I thought Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges were awesome. Both ends of the floor. Mikal, 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, 6 of 10 from the field, and 3 of 6 from 3. And Jay Crowder, 15 points, 5 of 8. He was knocking down his open shots. Some that were not even, they were semi-contested, and he still hits it. He's great at those catch-and-shoot threes. And then he played some tough defense. He was hustling. I thought the Suns' energy level was great. And I think right now they're just a motivated team. With the Suns, we've been covering them all season. You know what you're going to get from Jay Crowder effort-wise. You know what you're going to get from Chris Paul effort-wise. Even I said it so many times at the beginning of the season. I know what Chris Paul does. He is not the type of player that just takes a game off. That's part of the reason he does get injured a good amount is when he plays, he plays. And that's very rare that he's going to roll over and die. And that Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Devin Booker has never made the playoffs. He's hungry. This Suns team is not going to lay over and die. And Abdel Nader did a great job. He played great defense, and he hit his open threes, I thought, or Abdel Nader, and speaking it correctly. He was fantastic, I thought, in this game. 2 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 8 points, but he was big in the second half and helped the Suns build a little lead. The Phoenix Suns come away with the victory against the small ball Lakers, 114-104. By the way, THT again, off-ball awareness on defense, very lacking. He had a decent game scoring the ball, 16 points on 6 of 9 and 2 of 5 from 3, but 2 turnovers as well and not extremely alert defensively. So the Lakers drop now to 24-12. The Suns are now 23-11. They now currently sit as the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. That is incredible. I predicted the Suns to be the 5th seed in the Western Conference, but they're even exceeding my expectations for them. It's just like last year with OKC with Chris Paul. I said, they may not be an easy out, but they completely surpassed my expectations and became a playoff team. And it was in very similar fashion, too, because it was funny because last season in the beginning, Chris Paul was decent. You were like, oh, he's all right. I just don't know how good the team's going to be. They'll be decent, but I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you give it like 15, 20 games, Chris Paul's teams just hit stride and boom. They seem like they're overachieving with the talent they have. Not to say the Suns aren't talented. This is definitely a little bit overachieving. At this point, I know I said they're my 2nd favorite team in the league, but they got to chill out now, man. They got to chill out. They're getting too good now. They're so motivated. And man, I love Chris Paul. He really does this to teams. Do I think that Gen Z gives him too much credit? Absolutely. The Gen Z bots love CP3. I love CP3 too. He's my favorite player ever. But people really overrate him because he's like the only great pass first point guard they've seen in their lives, some of these kids. So that can be a little bit of an overrating sometimes. And he does change teams. But shit, man, at this point, we'll see what happens in the playoffs with this Suns team. However, I'm happy for them. What I want, though, is I want the Suns to get the 3 seed and we get the 2 seed. In an ideal world, I don't want to see the Lakers in the 2nd round, but it may have to come to that. And it is what it is. I just think the Clippers, they just don't have it. And if they have it, we're going to find out. There's no talent-wise, I think we should beat everybody, but I just don't trust Kawhi Leonard and Paul George down the stretch to get the job done for us. It's straight up. I want to briefly shout out or mention one of our Dime Dropper teams just fired their head coach, Lloyd Pierce. I've said all season long, but I put most of the blame on Trey as the floor general because I'm not a big blaming coaches guy. However, I'm behind the firing. I think they need to find a way to get John Collins involved better. I think they need to make Trey Young, move without the ball, discipline his ass. But anyway, so I heard they played tonight, but I saw their game against Miami. It was pathetic. I thought Trey was not that great again. They were rattled by a full court press, a straight up full court press. Great for Eric Spoelstra. I loved seeing that. That's more old school. Switching it up, and that zone completely threw the Hawks out of their game, despite the fact that I thought John Collins played great. They completely collapsed in the last 3 minutes of the game. Kendrick Nunn was fantastic in that game. But even without Jimmy Butler, for them to lose, I think that was the last straw on Lloyd Pierce's coffin. But there's a lot of time left, and I think Trey Young needs to adjust and play like a leader and play like a real point guard. But that being said, even in the ball-dominant Trey Young strategy, they should be beating these weaker teams. I'd hope Bogdanovich and DeAndre Hunter come back soon, because I do want the Hawks to make the playoffs. I said they'd be the 9th seed. But the Wizards aren't above them right now. It's Charlotte and Chicago and these weaker teams. So there's no excuse for that. So we've hit the limit, guys. 24 minutes. I'm going to go on to the live subscribers now, but a tough night for the Clippers. If you're a Clipper fan, guys, we just got to hope that our guys get healthy. They need to be healthy. It's unacceptable how much they're missing games because that's the only reason we're losing so much. Besides the fact that they need to figure out how to close games better. For the Lakers, I think they're fine. I think Vogel was just naive a bit tonight. That small ball lineup just didn't work. They had no rim protection. LeBron needed a bit more assistance. But, hey, that's what's going to happen when you have AD out. This was going to be a tough period for the Lakers regardless. So you got to take the punches. As long as they stay within that top 4 range, I think you're straight if you're the Lakers. That's it for tonight, guys. Peace out. Make sure to go check out why Kobe Bryant's Lakers lost to NBA Finals, because it's a good one, and I'm going to come out with the winning side very soon. Peace. Super Chat's turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. What's up, y'all? Nice number tonight, 56 of the diehards. Let's see it. Harrow got cooked by the Joker. What does that have to do with tonight, though? Yeah, I know. It's Sam Sharma. You know why that happens? Clippers. Hey, Seth, how many years did it take for me to blame Glenn Rivers, though? How many years was it with him? That's the difference. Dime, I think Vogel's decision to put in Braun at the start of the fourth and not put in Braun at the start of the fourth, put Dudley in as center over Trez will cost the Lakers the game as the Suns made a run. So uncharacteristic of Vogel. Man, I forgot Dudley came back in. Nah, gotta respect Rondo. At least he got the bag he deserves. Yo, Dime, I've been watching lives for a while now. This is my first time chatting. Your video series is the NBA getting better and better. Really changed my perspective on the history of the NBA. Hey, that's above all, man, hearing those comments is what makes me thankful for making this channel, man. Jonathan Jacob Q or Jonathan Jacob K. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. Yo, Dime, didn't watch the game today, but I said the Lakers and Clips have something to prove this season. What do the Lakers have to prove? Relax, Kyle Kuzma. You think we need another consistent scorer? But somebody that can get to the rim, though. I don't know, J-Love. I think you don't act like the Clippers are with the Lakers, man. We're not a proven thing. Defensive win share. We don't do advanced analytics over here. Get out of here. How is defensive win share calculated? Should I look it up so we can all laugh about it? Lakers need to learn how to defend the three. Some guys, it's because LeBron and THT definitely sag off their man a lot. But a lot of defending the three comes from dribbling penetration and stopping the collapse. What's up, Danny? Yeah. Facts, MXM. I think I have watched Mike Korzemba's Clippers Are Cursed video. I actually think it was a well-done video. Man, Dudley was getting sauced by Saric. I don't have to write that in the comment. Clippers need to start driving to the fucking rim instead of settling for three. We started looking like the Rockets. Yeah, I agree. Is it me or is point guard's basketball IQ when it comes to shot selection down the stretch really bad? That shot he took when you guys were down 4 was awful. I think players' IQs are just terrible now, to be quite frank. Clippers ball movement suspect at the end of the games. Hey, mate, has the NBA changed? Really changed my mind about the game. Maybe that's how shit the Clippers are. Mazza, you're a loser. You don't think Chris Paul's a superstar? I see what you're saying. Your definition of superstar is a little different. You have it as a more elite class. Intel, I blocked his ass. Vogel cost us this game. I don't know. It's not getting triggered, Big Daddy. The Clippers are still one of the best teams in the Western Conference, and besides my Lakers, I'll take them over any Western Conference team. I guess. Yeah, well, we're going to lose, Kuzma. We're going to die if we live in by the other three. That strategy doesn't work. Not if you're the Warriors. Only if you're the Warriors. Hey, Maxwell. Yeah, I agree. The Suns are not beating the Clippers and Lakers in a 7-game series, though. You don't like D-Book? I love D-Book. You don't think the Suns would win against any of the top 5 Western Conference teams? I think that they have a chance against the Nuggets or who's the other teams? Mavericks and Blazers? No, Mr. Type of Shot. We wouldn't lose to the Nuggets again because they don't have Jeremy Grant anymore, and we have guys that can guard Jokic better. I would love Warriors-Lakers in the first round. Clippers win. No, yeah, again, the Clips are not looking underrated because they keep losing without things. Yeah, the Warriors didn't rely solely on the three. That's true. All right, Seth. No, I wouldn't like to see Booker on the Lakers. Are you stupid? I don't know, bro. But the thing about Drummond is, I think that he's not really a winner, and I don't like players that miss free throws like that. I disagree completely, KB Magic. CP3 is not the Suns' best player, and I don't think he's necessarily the most impactful player either. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think this is Devin Booker's team. Maybe most impactful, but that's because of the way, once again, it's kind of like LeBron. That's the way Chris Paul plays. He loves to dominate the ball. He's not effective off the ball. But I don't know. I still think, the Suns were close to making the playoffs last year. If it wasn't for Ayton missing so many games, I think they would have made it. Not much is ideal for a Clippers first round matchup. Kobe is forever because every Western Conference team is decent. Blazers, Clippers, I'd take that. I'll take the Blazers. I'd rather get swept by the Jazz than have the Lakers first round. Why? It'd be hilarious if you just gave the Lakers some trouble, Maniac Lane. Yeah, I know. Trey, bro. We just need our guys healthy, dude. We'd be in second right now. It's so frustrating. Why can't Kawhi play? Like, they just can't play 20 games in a row. Like, are you serious? Like, for Clip, yeah. Do you consider the Jazz a legitimate contender? I completely do. I'm telling you guys, if they beat the Lakers, who may stop them? The Nets, maybe? Maybe the Nets. But I think they are a contender. PG-13 or Booker? That's a tough question. As of last season, I said Devin Booker because I trust him closing out games. PG is making me rethink that. 2019, I'd say PG for sure. I'd say let's wait till this playoffs, and then I'll answer that back. It's all about closing games. Booker closes games. And Devin Booker's really stepped it up on defense this year, guys. We got to give him credit for that. Clippers, Warriors, first round. Do I think CP3 is the best point guard of the 2000s? What's good, Lug? Yeah, I think he is. No. I'm sorry, Stephen Curry. Even though Stephen Curry was had ankle injuries in the first couple of years, Stephen Curry is the best. Would you rather have another COVID year or have the Lakers win another chip dime? Oh my God. I think I'd have to say the Lakers winning because the COVID year is for everybody. So I would like people to be happy and people to live. Man, please. Booker been scoring 25 and losing. Give me a break on that. When was it? No, that was before last year, KB Magic. You're still stuck in the pre-James Jones era. Devin Booker changed last year. Give him a break. That's why he made the All-Star team. I agree, Kobe's forever. Dime, it's not just Clippers, though. A lot of teams are dealing with injuries and COVID protocols. But Paul George had a toe injury. Patrick Beverley's always injured before coronavirus. Kawhi Leonard missed 2-3 games because of a leg contusion. It wasn't just the contact tracing, man. Injuries, you know why, though? What does it go back to the NBA? Is the NBA getting better? These players are missing games more than ever before, and the league is resting and is softer than ever before. The rules are protecting the players if people are getting injured. So what does that say? Are we really getting more athletic? These guys are, crumbling. They're crumbling. A lot of non-contact injuries to young guys. It's getting ridiculous. Yeah, Trey, I'm with you, man. Because our team looks really decent, man. I really like the way we play. It's just a matter of that ending games. But we don't even need to get to ending games sometimes if we had a healthy team. Okay, Sam Sharma, I feel you. Jazz can be over-reliant on the three. The Clippers aren't really that over-reliant on the three. It's more we're over-reliant on jump shots. I think we shoot the right amount of threes more often than not. CB3 is greater than Booker, and it's not even close. Bro, Chris Paul is like my favorite player ever. Literally, I'm looking at a poster of him right now. That's just BS. You're hating on Booker because you haven't followed his progression these last 2 years. KCP is playing. Oh, yeah, KCP is trash right now. Okay, I'm glad you clarified. Would you get a LeBron jersey if he went to the Clips? Stop with these hypotheticals, Lucas. I already have 2 LeBron jerseys from his early Cleveland days. In your opinion, were those shots? Yes, they were terrible, of course. I think the Warriors will be a contender with Clay back next year. That's what I'll say. Booker doesn't play defense like Paul George. Listen. You guys got to watch Devin Booker play this season. He does play defense. Not as good as Paul George, but he guards better players than Paul George this season. I'm telling you. I'm really telling you. Go watch him this season. He's been fantastic. They have one of the best defensive ratings and defensive opposing PPGs in the league for a reason. A large part because of Devin Booker. Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, all of them. It's full Maxwell Valencia is funny. I got you, Big Daddy. I think the Knicks have been incredible this season. I think Tom Thibodeau has to win Coach of the Year, and a huge shout out to poor man's Willis Reed, Julius Randle, for having an incredible season. It's awesome. The NBA is better when the Knicks are good. Shout out to my boy Loogie, if he's still in here, about his Knicks. Very underrated YouTuber. Dime Dropper deserves way more. Thank you. We'll get there. I'm going to try to start making different sorts of content too. Who? Edgar O? Would you think LeBron James would be in 40K points before he says quits? He maybe. He wants to be the GOAT so bad I wouldn't put it past him to try to get those statistical things. You're right, Diamond. It makes me appreciate guys like LeBron and Harden. They're durable as shit. They just don't get hurt. That's true. LeBron and Harden, good. What about and older basketball players? A lot of them. LeBron will pass Kareem just barely, I think. Ugh, that's going to be a sad day, man. Love Kareem. It's going to be sad when he gets passed for LeBron because he's scored so many points in this ridiculous era. But I will say, the durability, man, he's done a great job with himself. I mean, he's done it on purpose. Yeah, 2018 LeBron was crazy. A lot better defensively, in my opinion. Why did Montrez play only 19 minutes? That's a mistake, I think, in my opinion, by Vogel. But the Suns went small, and the Lakers couldn't protect the rim with him. And he can't defend in space. I don't have Clipper underwear, Kyle Kuzma. Big Daddy. Everybody needs to look at what Big Daddy just said. Extremely important and right on the money. Do you notice when LeBron moves off ball, he gets easy buckets when set up by Schroeder, or it can be Marc Gasol or Dwayne Wade, whoever, fill in the blank. But what? But he prefers to play with ball. Bingo. Story of his career. And that is why I don't have him as high in my top rankings as most. He can get away with it in this era because they protect the offensive players so much. Comb over, it's not like that, bro. The haircut guy just did not clip this part of my hair. It's just whack. Look, it's just not even. He was drunk. Who was playing ass and then all of a sudden turned up against the Clippers this season, though, Wilson? There's nothing wrong with trying to break records. I just don't think you should prioritize stats. Vogel was definitely not good today. I feel you, Rohan. This was Vogel's worst game since coming to LA. Starting Dudley on Ayton to start the third instead of Damon was dumb. Oh, start the third. Okay, not the fourth. Also should have brought in Trez when Suns came in. Yes. Thank you, Lucas. Yes. I mean, you can't blame LeBron for wanting most points ever. That's the holy grail. Yeah, I think, but sometimes when he stays in games late to do it, I don't know. I just feel as though he wants to give everybody the best case of why he's the GOAT, try to convince everybody with the stats and everything, and maybe just stay along enough to have enough chances to win the sixth championship, but it's just funny. Wow, Gab's story. Dude, I don't know. I think you've watched all the ones I've seen, man, to be honest. I've never even seen 83, 86, and all the other ones. I think Damian Jones is good, and he should get more minutes. No, J Love, I wouldn't want LeBron. I don't like one player having the ball that much anyway. I've played basketball. It's not conducive. It's not conducive to winning, but LeBron's just so great. Also started Dudley in the fourth, man. Kemba, okay. No, but Kemba's played well last game too. And the game, I'm pretty sure he's played well 3 games in a row now, so you got to give, it's not just us. I think Jazz will go further than Suns. I'm going to name my firstborn after time. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow. Greatest final series, in my opinion, is the 2010 finals. But that's just, I haven't seen the 84 finals, which people say is incredible. And the 88 finals. I haven't seen some other finals, but I'd say 2010 for my generation. The last 17 years is the best. All right, guys. Peace out.